Singapore Ghost Stories. Had an experience doing guard duty at Nay Soon Camp. While out prowling at 2:30 a.m., my buddy and I were doing our usual route. If memory serves me right, this was already our third and last cycle of the night. First two cycles went by uneventfully as it was done in the late afternoon and earlier part of the night. So for this 2:30 a.m. round we were feeling exceptionally hot and humid, but shrugged it off as just typical Singapore weather. Went through the medical corps building and through their training field, slowly but surely getting drenched in sweat. Then we turned up to walk towards the live range. For us to reach the live range we had to go up and down a really long slope. If you drive along SLE you actually see this stretch of road. At the top of the slope it actually hit me that this area is usually pretty breezy as it's beside the highway, and also usually you hear insects doing their mating calls, but at that point the air was quite stale, no breeze. No insects mating as well. Again I shrugged it off as just the weather being too hot for even insects to want to reproduce. We proceeded down the slope to the gates of the range where there's a scan point. We clock our checkpoint and turn back towards the slope. So far so good except for the humidity. Also with it being 2:30 a.m. in the morning and it being our third prowl of the night, my buddy and I weren't really chatting. As we hit the bottom of the slope, I felt something tickle the back of my neck. Thinking it was possibly beetle or cockroach, I swiped it off and said, "Oh fuck off." The moment I said that, I heard a cackling laugh in the treetops over my left shoulder. Every hair on my person just stood, but I tried lying to myself that it's a bird, it's a bird, it's a bird. It didn't sound like a bird, but that was the best I could do to convince myself nothing was off. I initially though I was the only one who was bothered by it, till my buddy said that was unsettling. My buddy was this super gung-ho fella, really into commando stuff, and he never hit me as one who believed in supernatural situations, but I could see he was actually really bothered by this laugh. I was still really bothered by this so I couldn't really reply, and a couple of seconds later he asked if I was okay to start running. Well, let's just say we completed a 2-hour prowl route in 40 minutes. Being dumb cadets, we actually still proceeded to check in at every checkpoint because we didn't want to get into trouble, but we did it at pretty much full sprint, point to point.